Gamer.
What's going on, guys? Mike Straw, senior editor of Sports Gamers Online and sportsgamersonline.com, with the next installment of our exclusive developer series. Today we have a special treat for you. We are sitting with Rich Grisham, the Chief Marketing Officer, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Of Out of the Park Developments. Here for Out of the Park Baseball 20. Rich, I know you haven't been with the company for 20 years, but to see where the series has gone, how excited are you to be a part of this at this point in time?
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. This is the fourth year that I've been with Out of the Park. So in the grand scheme of things, I'm still the new kid on the team. But still 4 years, it's amazing. And 20 years, 20 years is an accomplishment in any business or really anything at all you're trying to do. So for Out of the Park Baseball, not only to make it to 20, but to be what it is, so big and licensed by Major League Baseball and the MLB and partnerships with AA baseball teams like the Trenton Thunder and, producing content for 538 and releasing our predictions every single year live on MLB Network now. We're doing it for our third year. Not just the game, but everything around the game. People know who we are now, which is amazing, because when you put the kind of time and effort into making something to be recognized, and again, I am a very small part of the success. The success can be traced back to Marcus Heinzen, who's the CEO and the lead designer. He's the guy, and what he's created, not just with the game and the company, is amazing. So all the congratulations to him. I am just thrilled to be a small part of this amazing group of people.
You brought up the fact that MLB Network airs official predictions simulated by the game. A lot of people, when it comes to these sim games, just view it as a small niche market. It'll never get the mainstream. But to get that kind of publicity, to get the game out into the mainstream, how important is that? Granted, this might be a dumb question because we know how important it is. But from an internal aspect from the team, to get that kind of exposure, did that kind of give that sense of legitimacy when that actually did start happening and continues to happen?
Absolutely. There's nothing like validation from the people who are closest to it, right? MLB Network, those people are the best in the world at what they do, and what they do is go deep and wide in the sport of baseball. So to even be able to hang out in their studio was amazing. Being able to go on and talk on MLB Now, and being able to do our season and then playoff predictions every single year live on MLB Network is just the coolest thing of all time. And again, it's just I'm so proud to be a part of this and to share it with the team. And I mentioned go to the studio. TJ Lowerman and I, our head of community, got to go there live and see what that was like. Yeah, it's credibility, it's validation, it's humble, or humility, it's awe. It's great, and it's a blast. And like I said, it's been building for a while. It's a long road to sudden success, but it's a tribute to the team that makes the game, and to all the guys who work, on promoting it and doing everything that we can to make sure the most people possible can hear about it.
As this game has grown, a lot of its publicity had to come through word of mouth and players and fans. And Out of the Park Baseball specifically has one of the most dedicated and hardcore fan bases that we've ever seen, that I've ever seen, myself included. How the way this fan base has grown, how much did that matter into getting these types of new these new areas to showcase what the game is all about, say with MLB Network or any other ventures? How important were the voices of the fans?
It was everything, because Out of the Park Baseball would be nothing without that community. And I'm not just spouting PR speak. It's legit. We do our own podcast for Out of the Park Developments, OOTP now, and we chat with people who are in that community. And we've had a couple of conversations with a couple of people who have been with Marcus and Out of the Park Baseball since the very beginning. And those people form the basis of that group of people, which numbers in the thousands now, which is amazing, who are so good and who care so much. That's the thing. They care so much about two things: Out of the Park Baseball and the game of baseball. And the direct line that they have to us and that we have to them is everything. Because without that, the game wouldn't be as good as it is. There's just no way to jam Out of the Park Baseball with everything that it has in it without that being part of a community-driven process for 20 years. And obviously, the community-driven process has changed and morphed since the beginning. Now it's real time. Like, I'm not even exaggerating.
Yeah.
It's real time. People come to us and say, hey, do this. And sometimes we say, okay, and we do. And it's great. And the community is everything. It really is. Everything stems from the community. And I've said this before, and I will continue to say it. The Out of the Park baseball community is the best community out there. And again, I sound like generic marketing PR guy, but it's true. It is such a positive community. It is a place. It's just a place where I'm comfortable wading in. There aren't many online communities I'll go anymore, but Out of the Park is by far the best. It's just great.
Piggybacking off that community and the fans, one thing that happened recently was one of the members of that community, Scott, others may know him as Ryden from the Operation Sports forums and Twitter and whatnot, recently joined as part of the Out of the Park Development roster team. How has the reaction been to seeing somebody from the fan base come inside? I mean, we saw it with yourself. We've seen it with TJ. Others know him as that sports gamer. We've seen him with Chris. To see these guys who have been really supportive of the product become part of the product, what has the reaction been like that you guys have seen internally from the fans to see that?
So there's a lot of cool things about what I do. But the coolest thing of all is being able to start this thing 4 years ago. And when I decided to start it, I asked TJ, said, hey, I'm going to start this thing, but I'm only going to start it if you come along with me. Like, if we're going to do this, if I'm going to do this, I need you as part of this. And TJ being TJ's like, yeah, let's go. So here we go. Being able to pitch something and then being able to have somebody buy into your vision and then being able to get your friends to come along and then make a sports video game. What could possibly be better than that? Nothing. I mean, that's for 10 or 12 or 13 years, I wrote video game reviews, tons of sports video game reviews for Metacritic sites, mostly Games Radar. I did the Press Row podcast, still do the Press Row podcast. Never going to give that up. And just talking about sports video games and spouting my uninformed opinions, now being able to put my money where my mouth is and do it with people that are A, my friends, and B, that have a deep respect and knowledge for what we're doing. Like, TJ and Chris are very influential in a lot of the great things that happen with Out of the Park baseball. And we have a lot of fun. We have a lot of arguments with the rest of the team about what we should do on any given day and how things should go. And it's so great having the ability to have people that you know and you respect be able to help design this stuff. So then, when the opportunity to talk to Scott and have him come on board, I'm like, great, man, there's this big bandwagon. Like, let's go. Let's do this thing. He's got a great reputation for doing great work. Why in the world wouldn't you want to do it? So definitely. It's just great. I put a lot of trust in all the people that I work with, and they reciprocate by delivering excellence. Everybody that we have on the team is just great, and it's so much fun being able to share in that success with your friends. It's just great.
How do you find that happy medium when it comes to growing the game and reaching out to more people and hitting that new type of baseball fan, but also keeping the hardcore fans who have been with Out of the Park for years happy? Because there's always something. I know a lot of fans. A perfect example is the perfect team mode. It's card collecting, which over the past, it's still a new thing if you think about it when it comes to gaming in general. Only 5-6 years old has it really been prominent. Did you sense, how do you keep the fan base happy? Obviously, you're not going to please everybody.
Well, that's the job, and it's hard. If it were easy, anybody would do it. The most important thing is just delivering a quality game. Everything, nothing matters unless the game is great. Not good. Got to be great. If you're going to win in whatever you're competing in these days in 2019, the core of what you're doing has to be great. And so with Out of the Park Baseball being great, that provides us with a lot of well-earned goodwill. So that's the number one thing. If we deliver something that's not great, then we're in trouble. After that, it just comes down to when you say you're going to do something, doing it. And we have invested a lot of resources, both time, money, and more time and more money in building Out of the Park Baseball, especially the last couple of years, and Perfect Team, and introducing that, and then being able to reinvest what Perfect Team has helped us generate revenue-wise into the core game. Like being able to, when people get concerned and say, hey, I'm worried about this, we say, well, we understand, but check out what's coming next. You're going to see. And that's the other key, right? So number one, what you produce has to be great. And number two, when you say you're going to do something, you have to follow through on it. And we believe that we're doing that. Now, that doesn't mean that everyone is going to love everything. That's fine. I mean, this is baseball and it's video games. So, but again, it's got very little to do with me, much more to do with Marcus, but delivering quality above all every single year. As long as you're doing that, you're going to be okay. But these are conversations we have with our fans every day in our Discord and in our forums and on Twitter and on Facebook. Like it's an ongoing conversation. It's so interesting how video games have changed just in the last year. I'm not even talking 5 years. 5 years is a millennium in this business.
Yeah.
Just in the past year, the way that you can interact with your fans and do things and deliver is just really opens up a whole lot of new possibilities for us. And we built our own network over the last 4 years. Out of the Park Developments, we're producing content minimum 4 days a week. And that's the minimum between our 3 live streams and the podcast. That's 4 different things, right? So we're able to talk to our fans and deliver to our fans and have those conversations that if you don't care about Out of the Park Baseball, some of the conversations you won't care about. But if you just like baseball or video games, you'll enjoy some of those conversations too. So that's another cool thing that we've been able to do. When you're able to just say so much to your fans, that also really helps allay concerns. We don't go run and hide. Nobody, I can't imagine anybody talks to their fans more than we do on a daily, hourly, minute-to-minute basis. It's awesome.
Those fans, and you talk about delivering a great product. Perfect Team Mode debuted late in Out of the Park 2019's life cycle. When a lot of fans saw it, one of the things I noticed is people, before knowing too much about it, or even diving into and giving it a chance, just saw, oh, great, another card collecting mode. Here we go again. When it came to deciding, and I don't know how much you can say or not, but when it came to deciding how to not only market this mode, but how to make this mode stand out. What went into that decision to really say, we're going to make this mode, we're going to make Perfect Team different than anything anybody's ever seen before?
Well, I'm not going to, I had very little to do with the detailed design of Perfect Team. I have everything to do with marketing Perfect Team. But I definitely contributed. And this is a 3-4 year process. I mean, it wasn't very long after I started 4 years ago that the initial conversations began. So this is a long time coming. So the design is brilliant. Basically every single week in real time, in our real world, Monday through Sunday, every single week is a complete season in Perfect Team. So every Monday is a fresh start, and every Sunday night is the end. So no matter how well or how poorly you do, it all starts new, a brand new baseball season every Monday. Until, I mean, the first time I sort of heard that, I was like, oh, that's different. That's, or at least to me it is. Maybe there's things like it, but there wasn't anything I had been doing. And then sort of the every day is a month of the season. So just games are going, and you're tinkering with your lineups, and it's happening in the background. Like, as we just sort of started to put together the mechanics of it, the sort of traditional card collecting aspect almost took a back seat. And it's not the right way to describe it, but, and again, this is just from my perspective. To me, it was so unique from a core gameplay perspective that the card collecting part sort of fell into place. And so then you combine that, the mechanic of how it's played, and the fact that you can be active or passive or in the middle, and it's okay. And it's not a stick skill based game, right? So I'm not out there, like, I don't have to be real. I don't have to play, Call of Duty every night or Fortnite every night or whatever, just to keep my stick skills okay. Like, this is purely a thinking game. And so sort of that mix combined with then once the card collecting and the tiers of cards came together, over the course of that 18 to 24 months, it just really kind of became clear to me that organically this is unique, right? Obviously it borrows aspects of card collecting modes, and it's an online competitive world, but not in the sort of traditional online competitive world. And the fact that it's persistent but also refreshes every week, just all of that came together in a way that I'd like to say that it was completely, we knew 3 years ago this is how it would come together. I suppose I probably should say it, but to say that we knew it was going to come together like it would, or like it did, would have been a stretch goal. So it's really just a whole bunch of stuff. It's fascinating. I've been in software development for 20 years, and I've been in video game development now for 4 years. And it's just, as technology evolves and design evolves, and as the tools you have become newer and different, more available, like that, we couldn't have done Perfect Team 3 years ago. Just the infrastructure couldn't have done it, or shall I say, it would have been so expensive to do it, we wouldn't have been able to afford to do it.
Yeah.
But here we are today. Like, there's things that we can do, because of technology that's evolved that lets us do that kind of stuff. So it's really just been a fascinating thing to participate in, have a little bit of say in, but just to watch it. And then once it got released to the world, to see what it became and what it is, has been a whole other revelation.
And as someone like yourself who's worked in the software development industry, I'm going on 5 years now in software development as my primary job. It's one of those things of, you really appreciate what goes in and the logic rather than someone from the outside. And this is where I think I might come off as this holier than thou type of mentality, not intended, but you really do appreciate how the task and the undertaking it takes to develop and build something like this, where it's not just, oh, how could they make this happen, or how do they do this, or it's super quick to implement that. It takes a lot of time and a lot of testing, and I feel knowing in your case, knowing what that takes from all these aspects, kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, helps in how you want to how you're able to market this mode to current fans and potential new fans. Correct?
Well, I don't know that it helps in the marketing. It certainly helps in me understanding how long things are going to take and how malleable some things might need to be. It definitely helps in that perspective. From a marketing perspective, nobody cares. Nobody cares how hard you're working. Nobody cares. Nobody cares how long it took. And by the way, they shouldn't. That's my job, and that's the job of the team. It's not the consumer's job. I don't really spend a whole lot of time, caring about the process for how a particular show I like or song or album I like get put together. I mean, that may not be true. I actually do like knowing about the musical process. But anyway,
most people.
It doesn't matter. But people don't care how long it takes. They just want it to work, and that's how it should be. And as long as things work and as long as things are fun, then we're doing our job. But the cool thing about Perfect Team is it's never done. It's constantly evolving and changing, and we're adding stuff to it. And with the new Out of the Park Baseball 20 and what we're doing with that all year long, adding also, it's just, man, we are just getting started with all this stuff. That's I keep saying the most fun part of my job is this, and I've said it probably about 4 different things, but that's another most fun thing about this job is that there's so much fun, cool, interesting stuff that we're going to do just this year, much less over the next 3, 4, 5 years. We have just gotten started with this stuff. There are so many directions that we're going to be able to go with Perfect Team and with Out of the Park Baseball because of Perfect Team. It's going to be awesome.
We'll wrap it up with this. Where can the series, or where do you feel this series can go? Is the sky the limit? Are we going to see things like people being able to check on their perfect team, I don't know, from their phones down the line? Things of that nature. Where can this series and this game really go over the next, now that we're ending the second decade of the 2000s, into the next 5 years, 10 years?
Yeah. So, I mean, the only real way to answer that question is just take a look at Out of the Park Baseball, the very first one, and Out of the Park Baseball 20. And then just think about that, right? Like the possibilities are absolutely endless. First of all, baseball, the game, is changing every year, and it's changing very quickly. Just to keep up with the way that baseball is really played and managed and scouted is one thing. If people think that, okay, yeah, the last couple of years are kind of an anomaly, with people getting obsessed over launch angles and exit velocity and with openers and followers, but now everything will just settle down. No, baseball is going to continue to get upended because the analytics guys are going to continue to try to find something unique that they can take advantage of for a month or a couple of weeks to get that extra little advantage. So baseball itself is going to continue to evolve. And by the way, some people don't like that. Traditional baseball fans, quote unquote, traditionalists don't necessarily like that. But whether you like it or not, if you're making an authentic baseball game in 2019, you got to keep up with that stuff. So that's one thing. But the other thing is just, again, what the ability now to introduce live services in Out of the Park Baseball 20, to think about where that's going to take us in your ability to be able to compete against people and to create all sorts of different competitions, whether it's a one-day best of 7 against somebody or whether it's a 1-month tournament featuring every baseball team of all time.
Yeah.
People talk about esports. Out of the Park Baseball is going to have a sporting community, a quote unquote esports community around it at some point in the future. I mean, technically it already does, but I mean, there are plenty of people who want to participate in competitions in ways that you see in other areas of the world. So between just a regular baseball game itself and keeping up with that, and then the ability to take live services and connect fans and to also enrich the game. I mean, we have live services in Out of the Park Baseball 20, meaning, on April 19th, if you're like, hey, I started my game in Out of the Park when it came out on March 22nd, but a lot's happened in that almost month. let me grab what's happening right now today in baseball, my player ratings and standings and rosters and stuff. Just being able to do that is we've never done anything like that before. So take what we're just introducing this year with live services and think about how that's going to evolve in the next 2, 3, 4 years. I mean, I know that's a rambling answer, but that's what we have in front of us. And you plan for some of it, and then you react to some of it. Nobody knew what a exit velocity or a launch angle was 3 years ago. 5 years ago, BABIP, you would say that, and people will think you were mumbling incoherently. So there's a lot on our plate, and it's all awesome. And out of the park baseball is going to continue to evolve to be the most authentic baseball game, but also to have more ways for people to just have fun playing it, whether it's for 5 minutes a day or hours a day. And you mentioned, check on their phone. We're this year at some point when it's ready, because we're working our butts off getting it ready, we're going to deliver a mobile Out of the Park Go app, which is going to help be able to do your perfect team stuff on the go, as well as be able to play a traditional Out of the Park baseball mode with a whole bunch of different seasons from not only 2019 but in the past, and all sorts of different ways. So again, man, there's 100 directions we're going. The most important thing is our fans tell us what's most important, and that's the best part about it, because they're going to keep on telling us what the most important thing is, and as long as we keep our biggest fans happy, everything else will kind of fall into place.
Rich, I want to thank you for taking the time with me today to talk about Out of the Park Baseball 20, Out of the Park Baseball as a franchise. Where can our viewers and our readers and our listeners find all they need to know about Out of the Park 20?
So the simplest thing is go to Google and Google Out of the Park Baseball. I mean, these days, because we're in so many places, I love it. So every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night, we live stream on Twitch, minimum. I sometimes also stream on Saturdays or Sundays. And we also have guests and friends of Out of the Park Developments stream as well. So, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, for sure. Mondays is This Week in Perfect Team with the great Chris Jardine, a.k.a. Snaggle J, who's our Perfect Team community manager. Tuesdays is TJ, that sports gamer, the head of community. He streams various Out of the Park baseball franchises and tournaments and all sorts of cool stuff. Then Wednesday night, our good friends Adam and Jeff live stream franchise hockey manager. We also do our podcast, OOTP Now. I host and produce that. Everything that we do on Twitch at twitch.tv/OOTP Developments is put on our YouTube page, youtube.com/OOTP Developments. We have our Discord, which is great. Go look for the discord.gg/ I think it's OOTP Developments. Pretty sure TJ and Chris are both going to crush me if I have that wrong. Absolutely going to crush me on that one. So pre-apologies to them. And, of course, our website, ootpdevelopments.com. Twitter, we have Out of the Park Baseball. We have OOTP Perfect Team, as well as franchise hockey. I know I'm forgetting other things, but we're everywhere. We have a network we built over the last few years that we're super proud of. Everything we do, it's all out there. Playing the game, talking about the game, talking to people who play the game, you name it. We're putting it all out there, so come join the conversation.
Out of the Park Baseball 20 launches March 22nd. If you pre-order it, you can get it 4 days early on March 18th for $35.99. Game is available on Windows, Apple, and will be available on Steam. Rich, thank you again for your time. Best of luck. I'm super excited to dive into Out of the Park 20.
My pleasure, and thank you for having me. It was awesome.